Hi, I'm Jenny from Success Empowerment. As some of you may know, our company is dedicated to helping people lead others well through our HR custom consulting offerings and our leadership training, as well as the information and content that we share to help everybody with all of their people management challenges. I'm joined today by Shruti Mather, our HR associate.
Hi, Jenny.
And Shruti has recently written an article on Thrive Global in honor of World Kindness Day and how we integrate kindness into our work environments. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. First of all, Shruti, thank you so much for writing this article and sharing this great information with everyone.
Thank you, Jenny. That's really kind of you.
So kind. Look at us. We're examples for World Kindness Day.
Yes, absolutely. So, Jenny, I must tell you why I wrote this article. I was having a conversation with a friend on a Saturday night, and we were discussing our work lives, and we were pondering on whether kindness and leadership go hand in hand or not. Because oftentimes, when we think of leadership, words like control and command come to your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So does kindness not feature in this whole game? I mean, that was the thought process behind writing this article. And I know you've led teams and you've worked with leaders. And my question to you is, can one be kind without being too nice?
Oh, good question. Can we be kind without being too nice? I think absolutely. I think it's a hard balance to strike sometimes, but I think it's really necessary. And the reason is because if we are not being honest and helping our teams grow, then that's not kind at all. So I'll give you an example. A number of years ago, somebody on my team made a pretty big mistake. Of course, it wasn't intentional, but there was some repercussions that were making things a little difficult at work for me because, my bosses were not quite as kind about having some space for errors as they may occur. So if we're going to look at this from an unkind perspective, you could just fire the person. Say, you've made a mistake, you're fired, you're an idiot, we don't want you around. I think another way of being unkind as a leader is ignoring it. If you want to be nice and don't want to upset somebody, so you ignore a situation, that's unkind because in my perspective, we're not going to learn and we're not going to grow if we don't know about the opportunities that we have to do better at work. So I took the approach of I want to be kind and help this person grow and develop and learn. I don't want to be unkind by being berating anyone or being mean to anyone or using language that's not going to serve the purpose of helping us get better. There's constructive criticism and there's important feedback, but then there's also just being a really mean idiot. So I think that the kind thing to do is to talk to people honestly and say, hey, listen, this was a mistake. I recognize that certainly wasn't your intention. And what we're going to do is work together to figure out how to correct it and what we can do going forward so that we can put in processes or we can put in systems that are going to prevent these types of mistakes from happening in the future. And then we get to learn, we get to grow, and I think that's a kind leader to help your team develop, help your employees grow and learn and
True. No, that's a very
better.
valid point. That's a very valid point. So what you're essentially trying to say, Jenny, is that one can give feedback, constructive feedback, and still be kind if it's done with the right intent. If the communication piece is important, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it has to be the right intent, but it also has to be the right delivery. And that can take some practice, right? Not
Mhm.
everybody's going to know exactly how to do that right off the bat. So be understanding with yourself, be kind with yourself to say, okay, maybe I need to practice how I want to deliver this message, ask for some advice, have a trial run. But sharing the information is important if it's going to help the team get better.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. I do have another question, Jenny.
Shoot.
I think as HR professionals and as managers, we often face this. Um, how do we manage the difficult conversation? How do we navigate the situation of pay raises without being perceived as unkind?
So if you can't give someone a pay raise because of budget constraints, but you don't want to be unkind and tell them no, is that the question?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole
So,
perception, right? That if my manager or my HR refuses a pay raise, that's being unkind. Whereas
ah,
the reality of the situation may be very different. So how
that's
does
true.
one navigate that conversation without um, messing it up?
Excellent question. And unfortunately, I have had way more experience in this area than I would like to have had. But you know, if you're a leader and you work in HR for a long time, these conversations are going to present themselves over and over again. So, one example I can share is I had a woman on my team who was doing a fantastic job and she asked for a pay rise. And in all accounts, I would love to give her this pay rise. She was doing a great job. She was working really hard, and with the work that she was doing and the value she was providing, I absolutely believe that she deserved that raise. That said, within the constraints of our budget, it was impossible. I couldn't make that happen. And when I told her I couldn't do it, she perceived it as me being unkind by not being able to grant her what she felt she deserved. And that's very hard for a leader, right? And I think it's much easier to have a pay conversation with somebody when there isn't the budget for it if they're not doing a great job. If they are doing a great job but you don't have the budget, it's really tough. And I can see from an employee perspective how that feels unkind and perhaps unfair. Unfortunately, the only way to do this in a kind manner is to be honest about the circumstances and be curious and creative about what else you can do. I've seen managers try to be kind and promise pay rises that they couldn't necessarily deliver. So we had some managers at one point who said, you know, we don't have a budget for you right now, but you're doing a really great job. We'll give you a pay rise in 2 months. They feel they're being kind, the employee feels better, everything's all set. Until they come into my office and say, no problem, I just pushed that pay rise situation down 2 months and we'll figure it out later. When you do not have the ability to promise something, don't promise something. That is being unkind. You're setting the employee up for disappointment later down the road. You're setting yourself up for being untruthful. I think that in a situation, unless you can really commit to what you're offering, don't offer it. What I like to look at is what can we do instead? And so we all, we all need to work for money for sure, but we also have a lot of other things that we enjoy about our work. And we also have other things that motivate us and interest us. So I like to talk to people about what else can we do to reward you and engage you at work that might be separate from just the cash figure on your paycheck. In my experience, I find a lot of people are very receptive to learning opportunities. If there's some training and development, or if there's some exposure to new parts of work that people can have, then that can be really beneficial. Sometimes time off is an opportunity that people can take advantage of in lieu of, a cash incentive. Something else that I found in this particular situation that I was speaking of, where I couldn't accommodate a pay rise for this woman on my team who was doing a great job. What we were able to do was give her some opportunities to travel. So this was pre-COVID, I'll be very clear about that. But at the time, we had a number of offices in different cities, and I would go and do training and development to get new team members up to speed in these other offices. And that was something she was really interested in doing. So I delegated that responsibility to her. She got to travel and got to upskill her own career, and also work with some new team members and broaden her skills with working with new people. So that was a compromise that worked well in that situation. It's probably not going to work these days with COVID, but it does get us thinking about, how else can we enrich our work environments and our jobs aside from just the money.
True. That sounds good. Yes. So, Jenny, do you see both these elements working in tandem, kindness and leadership? Do you think leading with kindness will work? In the coming times, can it be a differentiating factor that can push one's career ahead?
I think it can, and I think that when we think about kindness as leaders, we want to associate that with being clear and being communicative and being curious about how we can solve problems. If we associate kindness with just being nice and getting everybody to like us, that doesn't work for leaders. That doesn't work in life, but that's, that's a different video. But as leaders, if we're really truly engaging in an authentic way with our teams, that's kindness. And if we have a vested interest in their development, that's kindness. And that's what's going to set us apart in how we lead our teams and how we grow our teams and build the skills of all the people around us.
True. Yeah, that's right. I agree. It's one of the elements to leadership, but definitely an important one.
An important one. And I think just taking away that the communication of the message is the important part. And you quoted Brene Brown in your article, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. Yes. So as leaders, let's keep that in mind. Setting people up for success requires us to do our own work on being clear about what we need and what we want and how we want things to operate.
Great. Thank you, Jenny, for this insightful session.
Thank you, Shruti. And I hope you have a wonderful World Kindness Day.
You too. Thank you.